Illinois Stories is brought to you by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and by the support of viewers like you. Thank you.
Hello, welcome to Illinois Stories. I'm Mark McDonald in Weldon, DeWitt County, where you'll notice the tourist activities sign directs you to Mama D's Smokehouse. You have to be selective about when you come here because the husband and wife who own Mama D's have full-time jobs and they're only open on Friday and Saturday nights. So we called and asked if we could come on a Friday when they're getting ready for their Friday night crowd. This is what we learned. Okay, Sharon, my first question, my burning question when I first walk into Mama D's Smokehouse is, how did you choose the colors?
Well, it was kind of an accident, I guess you'd say. When I bought the building, the walls were painted like a mauve-y pink color, and the green furniture was here, and I'm like, oh, that's got to go. That was not a very good color choice. So the furniture was in really good shape, and I, couldn't afford to replace the furniture, so I thought, well, I would just, pick the brightest yellow I can get, and then we'll go with the John Deere thing. Buy some John Deere prints.
The John Deere thing?
Yeah.
I love the green.
Yeah, yeah.
But you're right. With mauve, it probably wouldn't work.
No,
It wasn't working for you.
It wasn't very nice.
The other burning question: Mama D's Smokehouse. How did you name it?
Well, that's another interesting story. My son, who's now 18, when he was about 5 or 6, he went to daycare in Farmer City. And I worked at Carl over in Urbana, so I'd pick him up on way home. And every time I picked him up, he was like, let's go out to eat. And I'm like, okay, we're going to go out and eat at this restaurant out here. And he's like, what restaurant? And I'm like, there's a restaurant out there. Everybody that eats it just loves it and comes back all the time. And so he's like, okay, we'll eat there tonight. So we're driving home, and we're getting closer to home. And he goes, well, where's this restaurant at? And I'm like, right down the road. He goes, that's our house. And I'm like, yeah, Mama D's restaurant. We're going to eat there tonight. So it just kind of started out as a joke, and then it just kind of stuck. So,
And are you Mama D?
I'm Mama D.
Oh, okay, you're Mama D.
Yeah.
Okay, well, now I'm going to call you Sharon or Mama D. Either one's okay.
Most people just call me Mama D.
This is such an interesting story because you and your husband, who were not in the restaurant business at any other time in your life, have other jobs, full-time jobs that you do, and we're going to talk about what those are. But you determined, you know what, with our hours, we could actually run a restaurant if we only opened on Friday and Saturday and did some catering work, we could do it. And you must have been, were you dreaming or what?
And actually, I was doing a little catering off and on, and that's why I bought this place, is basically I want to expand my catering business. So I needed a commercial kitchen. Well, this had a kitchen.
We're going to see that shortly.
I thought, well, there's no point in having a restaurant if you don't at least open a couple nights a week. And we figured, well, most people eat out on Friday and Saturday nights, and so we open Friday and Saturday nights.
And Weldon is a tiny town. I think it's a population of like 400, right? So you're not going to get a lot of Sunday through Thursday business anyway, right?
No, and we did try to open for lunch a couple of years ago. For the month of June, I had more employees in here than I had customers. I'm like, okay, that's done. We're not doing that.
Well, listen, you mentioned your professional kitchen, so let's go back there because, frankly, you know why people want to watch this program? They want to see how you cook.
Well, that's true. Yeah. I mean, we do have. I bought the place, it was wide open. I mean, you can come in the front door and see right in there. So we wanted a little privacy, so I did buy a little curtain to put over there because, sometimes you don't want everybody to kind of be the bug in the microscope. It's like, okay,
Sure. Yeah, you don't want to show them too much.
Exactly.
And you don't want them hanging out there, what you're doing now.
Yeah.
But you're going to do that for us.
Exactly.
You're going to show us how you have smoked up a brisket for us, a pork roast, and some of your delicious sides, and you also always order sort of or have custom sides with your platters.
Right.
And you also have a couple of quirky, unusual items on your menu, and you're going to show us how to cook those too.
Right.
All right, let's go.
Yeah, we have lots of quirky things.
Okay, now we're getting down to business.
Oh yeah.
Okay, we've admired the restaurant part.
Yeah.
Let's look at the kitchen. You can't have a barbecue place unless you got really good meat because people just won't. Not to say your sides aren't great, but you got to have the cuts of meat that people want. It wouldn't be a
smokehouse without the meat.
There you go. There you go. And you were good enough to. Now you do a lot more varieties of meat than this, but this is the brisket, and this is the pork roast.
Right.
And this will be your pulled beef and your pulled pork, right?
That's correct.
Okay, and this is what it looks like when you first bring it, before you even put it in the smoker.
Right.
Why do you pick this brisket? Why do you pick this piece of meat?
This is actually called a flat brisket, and you can get the full briskets, with the point on, and they look wonderful, but there's a lot of fat on them.
They're cheaper, but they're fatty,
really
right?
cheap, but and so I'd rather spend more money and get a really good cut of meat because of the end result, it's not going to be quite as good if you buy the cheaper meat. So I splurge a little bit more and buy a bit more expensive meat. The reason I do that is because this cut of meat does not have as much fat on it. The only fat it really does have is on the backside. It has a nice layer of fat right here. That's where a lot of your flavor comes from. So
is that right? So you want that?
You really want that.
Okay.
And so after you smoke it, of course, then I remove all that extra fat. But you really want this because otherwise, if you take all that off, your meat's gonna be a lot drier and it's not gonna be quite as flavorful.
Now you like to rub. Some people go overboard with sauce, but you like to rub yours, right? Which is a dry rub.
Exactly.
And you mix your own rub.
I make my own rub.
I'm not going to ask you for your recipe, but what sort of stuff is in here?
I probably couldn't tell you because, to be honest, I can't remember everything I put in here because it changes a little bit each time I make it. I have a really good imagination. What I like to do is I like lots of herbs and spices. I mean, I like flavor, I guess I should say. I really, really like flavor. So to get flavor, you use basil, you use thyme, you use oregano, chili powder. What else I put in here?
You said chili powder. Is there anything else in there that makes it hot, like spicy hot?
No, I don't really want to make it really spicy because a lot of people can't eat spicy food. I mean, myself, I can't eat a lot of spicy food because I can't just digest it as quite as well as I used to. So I try not to, even my sauces, I don't like to make them real spicy. I just do, basically I'm looking for flavor.
Can I just, if I took a little taste of this, would it knock me out?
Probably not, no. It can actually you can smell it too. I mean, you just smell, you smell the oregano, the basil, and I really love those flavors. I use oregano, basil, almost anything. Sage, I think I put a little sage in there.
Show us how you.
Well, I'm very liberal when I put in. I mean, I put it on there pretty thick. Sprinkle it on there. Nice little layer. Put a little brown sugar in here too for sweetness.
It's good.
Put it on here and just kind of like rub it in real good, kind of around the edges. Rub it in real good. And then what I do is I put it in the refrigerator. Let it sit for at least overnight, sometimes a couple days. I mean, this is a small cut of meat, so probably just overnight. And then it's all ready to smoke. And put it in the smoker and let it go.
This is, and you would also do this with your pork roast. You would rub it with the same thing. And this, again, for pulled pork, what is this cut called?
Well, this is actually a pork butt.
Pork butt, okay.
Or pork shoulder. And I like it because, again, it has, it's pretty good marbled. I mean, it has a nice, marbled, has a little bit of layer flat.
Fat,
got the fat in the back. And, that way you get a lot of your flavor. It has the bone in it, so you get a lot of flavor from that. And this actually is a very nice cut of meat. You can just see the meat here. Look at all that. Look at that meat. A lot of meat. Very little fat.
No kidding.
So I have very little waste because when you buy meat, you pay a pretty good chunk of money for it.
Oh, yeah.
So you want to end up...
And it's getting more expensive all the time.
Exactly. So you want to make sure that you have this much waste, this much meat. Otherwise, your profits go down the toilet.
Okay. So this stays in there. This goes in overnight in the refrigerator.
Right.
We're going to show the smoker later because it's in a different room. We can't show it now. But then it would go in the smoker. And how long would you smoke that piece of meat?
This I usually smoke about 12 to 14 hours.
No kidding.
Right. Very low heat.
That little thing, 12 to 14 hours.
But I smoke at a very low heat, about 200, 210 degrees. And that way, the longer you leave it in or the longer heat, it actually tenderizes the meat because you're cooking it slow. You're not cooking all the juice out of it because you're not cooking it really high meat. All the juices are still staying in it. Okay. This is nice because it kind of gets a crust over it. So then when you pull it apart, the juice is just amazing.
Now let's just see what that looks like when you say crust, because you have prepared one for us. Wow. And there's your crust. Very dark. But probably underneath the crust, it's probably pretty tender, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, I want to see that. I also want to see this one. This is most impressive, too. And there's
and that's exactly like that.
There's the pork shoulder, and there's the pork roast right there. And this stayed in for how long?
This was the same. I did that for 12 hours.
12 hours each. Okay.
And you can see, here's the size of this. This shrunk very little.
Right.
Because I smoked it at very low heat.
Yeah.
And this one there again, here's your full, and this smokes,
you don't lose that much.
No.
Now the next process is what you call pulling.
Exactly.
Okay, now people mostly hear about pulled pork. They hear that all the time. And what you actually do is with your hands, you pull the meat off the bone.
Yep. And that way you can remove a lot of the fat and the gristle. And that way what
just
you left.
Just by feel, you know what to weed out.
And it's perfect because if it's hot coming out of the smoker, it just falls apart. Just falls apart.
It's pretty easy.
It takes, and this is the same thing. Is like it just falls apart. And usually what I do is I take it, take it over, I scrape the fat off. You just rip it
Turn
apart.
that over again for us.
Yeah.
Because that fat flap that was on the bottom, that's what that looks like now.
Exactly.
Okay.
And it just peels right off.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see the meat, it just pulls apart. Look how easy that comes up.
Oh man, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
It smells good too.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, now walk me over to the heater over here. And I'm going to get on this side, Sharon,
Okay.
so I'm not in the way. But in one of these we have pulled pork and one we have the brisket, right? If I lift this side up, what do I see?
Brisket.
Oh, it's hot.
Yeah, that's pretty warm.
Maybe we need to. Oh,
There
you've
you
got
go.
tough fingers. Okay. So this is the brisket side.
That's the brisket.
Okay, and that's after you've pulled it.
Yes.
And I notice doesn't have any sauce on it.
No. Because in Oklahoma and Texas, you do not serve your meat with sauce.
Oh, you
let the people decorate it themselves.
Oh, the customer puts the sauce on
Yes.
they want to put
Yes.
on. But you put something on it, right?
I have what I call my meat dressing, is what I put on it.
Meat dressing.
Yeah.
What does that consist
It's just
of? Without giving
basically-
away too many secrets.
Well, there again, I can't tell you what's in there because I can't remember what I put in there. But I usually start out with the apple cider vinegar, and then I add there again lots of herbs and spices, oregano, basil, a little sugar. Can't remember everything I put in there. To tell you the truth.
Would you reach over there, Sharon,
Yeah.
and get that container because that has what we're looking for in it.
Well, and this says Sweet Baby Ray's on it, but
Yeah, but you need a container, and it just happened to be Sweet
well, and
Baby Ray's.
these are nice because they have the big wide mouths on them, so you can see.
So this is what you call the
Yeah.
meat sauce?
This is like a meat dressing.
Meat dressing.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, how much of that would you pour on this brisket?
Oh, just a nice liberal amount.
You don't measure anything,
No,
do you?
I just dump
you
it
just
in
kind
there.
of slosh it on there,
Yeah.
and just enough so you can get some flavor.
Yeah.
Okay. Would you show us the other side
Yeah,
too?
sure.
And this will be the pulled pork. Huh?
And this is the pulled pork.
Well, it definitely has a different look to it.
Yes, this is more of the white meat, and then even though that it can be confused, but this is a little bit whiter texture because it's pork. Because pork is the other white meat.
And of course you go ahead and put your meat dressing on that, and then when you serve it, you'll serve it on a plate, and then when it gets to the table, the customer, you have choices of sauce, which you also make here.
Right.
You make your own homemade sauce,
Right.
and then they can choose which one they want.
Yeah, because my sauce, I make a red and a yellow sauce. Red is ketchup based, the yellow is mustard based. It's my take of the Carolina sauce, not quite so vinegary. It's actually the same recipe, I just flip-flop mustard for ketchup. But they're a little bit sweet and spicy. So some people don't care for really. I try not to make it really, really spicy because you'll go into these barbecue places and it's so spicy you can't taste the meat. I want you to be able to, the sauce to complement the meat.
Right.
So that's why I make it not so overpoweringly spicy.
Okay. Now I promised before we got away from this topic that we would show the smoker that you use, so people would have an idea how that works. So let's do that, and then let's come back in here after that. And I was bragging about some of your sides, so we'll show how you make a couple of sides.
Sure.
And some of your quirky dishes too, like that deep fried hot dog and that apple dumpling.
Yeah.
Oh man, we got to see that.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, Sharon, you've got one bad thing about having a restaurant like this is you got a small kitchen.
Exactly.
So this smoker, which takes up a lot of room,
Exactly.
has to reside in the back room.
Right.
But it's okay because actually once you put something in it, you don't really have to tend to it. It's just in there for 12 hours, right? Would you show it to us?
Sure. This is the small one. I have a much bigger one I have off-site, but it's about 3 times bigger than this.
Wow.
But I couldn't fit it in the door, so yeah.
So for big jobs, like when you have catering, you've got the big unit. Okay, all right.
Yes. This one I use mainly for, it's smaller, so I do a lot of chicken and stuff in this one, which is very convenient because I can stop by in the mornings before work, put stuff on, and come back and it's all ready to go.
Okay.
All ready to take out.
Well, show us how it works.
Yeah. It's called this Pro Smoker. They're built in Wisconsin. A very nice smoker.
And it's electric.
And it's electric. Has electric, like an electric oven. Has a burner here for to generate the smoke. This is the way you put your
Well,
sawdust.
here, let's just demonstrate that while you've got that out.
Yeah.
There's a burner on the bottom.
Yep.
And the sawdust, you used hickory sawdust, for instance.
Yeah,
in this.
hickory or mesquite
And you shake a
usually.
little, I won't do much, but you shake a little in there like that,
Right.
And then, do you add any water or anything to that?
Usually what I do before I put the sawdust in there, I'll make it kind of damp. Because damp sawdust causes more smoke. And so when I smoke chickens or whatever, I'll fill up this way, halfway full, thereabouts, with damp sawdust. And that way, it'll smoke for a long time.
Right.
And I place that on the burner. And I have 2 controls here. I have this controls the heat. And you notice it only goes up to 250. because you want to do everything
You're
very
slow cooked,
slow.
yeah.
I usually do it about 200, 210, and I have this operates the burner for the smoke. So this goes for an hour. It basically heats up. So it starts the sawdust, it starts burning here in the middle, and then it goes for an hour, and once the sawdust starts burning, it burns, but it kind of smolders. And that way you come back and it ends up like ash, like this.
And once you fill this thing with smoke, it stays full of smoke because it's a convection oven, right? So it keeps circulating that smoke around the meat.
Because it has a fan up here. And basically the fan circulates the heat and the smoke, and you have a damper up here, but you usually have about halfway open, so you have a little bit coming out. But basically the smoke and the heat stay inside of it.
Okay, so you take in this case your pork roast, and you slide it in at about 210 degrees, and you come back 12 hours later, and voila,
that's what it looks like.
This is what you got. And it smells terrific. And all of Weldon smells terrific too. When you're cooking.
Because usually I have a ventilation hood that pumps the smoke out. And the whole town of Weldon smells like smoked meat.
Okay, the next thing we promised looking at some sides. How you cook some of your sides?
Sure.
Shall we?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm taking this, by the way.
Okay.
Sharon, when you order a barbecue plate at Mama D's, it comes with two sides.
That's correct.
And I asked you what the favorite two sides were, and you didn't hesitate. You said people love the macaroni and cheese and the cheesy potatoes, right?
That's right.
So I asked you, well, can you fix us some macaroni and cheese? You said, well, okay.
I could do this in my sleep.
The macaroni's all boiled up, looking beautiful right now. And I would imagine macaroni and cheese is pretty easy, but I don't know. I've never made it. So what do you do?
Well, I have to make mine a little bit more fancy. Otherwise, it wouldn't be gourmet. So I like to add, of course, then again, I'm all about taste and flavor. So what I like to do is I like to add lots of seasoning. So I sprinkle lots of seasoning on here.
And that's Cavender's, it's a Greek seasoning.
This is like a Greek seasoning, but it doesn't have any salt in it. It's salt-free. Because there again, we're watching our salt.
That stuff.
So I put, there again, I don't measure anything. I just put it on there. Right. And actually, this is the rub that I used before.
On the meat?
I put a little bit of that in there, too.
Okay, all right.
Because it has lots of herbs and spices in it.
It sure does.
And it's really good, so I put a good liberal amount. And then I like this Riley's all-purpose seasoning.
This is a Pittsfield company that makes this.
It's very good.
I use their chili seasoning.
And of course, I get the no salt again. No salt, because we don't want to encourage a lot of high blood pressure. So put a lot of that in here.
Okay.
And then I like to get just a little bit of color. So I like to use some chopped chives in there.
Oh.
So I'm going to add a little
Should I be stirring this as we go?
Yeah, and then give it a little stir.
Okay.
I like to get all my spices in there and stir it up real good.
Okay. Well, now, would you stir the spices in first and then
I kind of like to, because that way it gives, otherwise you put the cheese in there and then you can't see if you got your spices all stirred up.
Okay,
you might have a big lump of spice in there.
Well, I think I got the lumps out of there. I think I got it pretty well mixed. Okay, what goes next?
And then what I like to do is I love this Italian 4-cheese shredded cheese. I love Asiago. Asiago smells like dirty feet, but it's the best cheese.
Oh, it sure tastes
is really good. And it has Parmigiano Romano and provolone. And I used to grate these myself, but then I found that you could buy it all together, so I went the easy route.
How much do you put in? Go ahead and show me how.
Let's put a good amount in there.
Okay.
Call it mac and cheese. Gotta have some cheese in there.
That's right.
Oh, maybe a little bit more. You need a little bit more.
All right.
There we go.
All right. Oh, that does smell. Wow.
Doesn't that smell good?
Yeah. What's this?
Now this is blue cheese crumbles. Now, who would think to put blue cheese in mac and cheese?
Just Sharon.
But, see, there again, I do not like to eat blue cheese, like blue cheese dressing or whatever,
Right.
but I love it in mac and cheese.
Okay, throw a few crumbles in
So we're going to throw
there.
a few crumbles in here.
Okay.
We don't want to overdo it because it kind of is overpowering, but that looks pretty good.
Wow, I can see why people call for this. Okay.
Now,
Got
to
that done.
top it all off, we're going to add, this is smoked Gouda. I shredded earlier. And so we're going to add some smoked Gouda in here.
All right.
If it's going to be a smokehouse, you got to put a little smoke in there. So we're going to add some smoked Gouda.
Okay, all right.
That's looking really good and cheesy.
Okay.
So,
what's the mustard for, or whatever that?
This is actually cheese sauce.
Oh, it's cheese sauce.
This is cheese sauce.
Okay.
I do not like to use Velveeta because Velveeta can turn really kind of hard and kind of greasy-like. This I get at Sam's Club. It's a nacho cheese sauce, but without the jalapenos in it.
Okay.
So we're going to put...
and you pour that, or do I spoon that in?
You might have to spoon it. It's kind of thick. Spoon some
like
in there.
That? A little more?
A lot.
A lot.
Put a lot.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
Yeah.
Whoa, a lot more?
I put a lot more.
A lot.
Oh, yeah.
My goodness.
We want it cheesy.
Whoa, okay. Even more?
Oh, yeah. Let's do more.
Oh, come on, Sharon. Let's just dump the whole thing in there.
Yeah. Okay.
Is that about it?
Let's see how that looks. We might have to add a little bit more there.
Okay. I'll tell you what. I'm getting tired. So I'm gonna pretend that I just mixed all this up.
Yeah.
Because I want to show something. I want to show what your finished product looks like. I'm just so darn hungry I can hardly stand it. After you get that cooking, for how long? How long do you have to let that all cook together?
That probably took about 40 minutes.
40 minutes.
Yeah.
This is what you end up with that nice brown top on it.
I put a little grated cheese on top to give it a nice little crust.
That's beautiful. And I'm also going to show, this is the other one that people just love. These are your cheesy potatoes.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Oh, man. Would you serve just a little bit of that?
Oh, yeah. Let's get some out here so you can
And this is the mac and cheese here.
This is the mac and cheese.
It's so darn hot, it's probably, I don't think I can probably eat it, but let's see if I can find one that's not. I think you put enough cheese on it.
Well,
wow.
You know,
it's delicious.
Yeah, that's what, the different cheeses give it a different, lots of different flavor profiles. So that's why, yes, it's not your macaroni, your Kraft macaroni cheese.
People call to say, "Are you going to have this tonight?"
Oh, yeah.
Or I'm not coming.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's terrific.
It is really good, and it's like I say, it's like, the Asiago, the Romano, the blue cheese. It really gives it a different flavor profile.
Yes, it does.
It's good stuff.
Good stuff. Okay, Sharon, deep fried hot dog, I noticed on the menu, and I don't think I've ever heard of that before, but I mean, when you talk about a hot dog, this is not your normal hot dog,
Yeah,
is
this is not your normal hot dog.
it looks like it's about 8 or 10 inches long.
Well, this is a Hebrew National hot dog.
Oh, okay.
And the reason I chose that is because the Hebrew National does not have any fillers in it. Because since we're going to deep fry it, if you have a lot of fillers, it's going to shrink up until like nothingness. So this way, it's a all beef dog, and so when you fry it, it doesn't shrink up.
Okay, and this will take a couple of minutes to fry?
Yeah, about a couple minutes.
Would you put that in the fryer?
Sure.
And then while that's frying, we can show how you do your famous apple dumplings.
Sure. Go over here to the fryer and just pop it in the basket.
And that's frozen, right? You just
It's
put it
just
in
frozen.
frozen.
Yep.
Okay. That's probably going to settle down a little bit so we can hear each other, okay?
Yeah.
These, you start with Granny Smith apples for your apple dumplings,
Yes,
right?
I like to have a real tart apple because you'll know in a minute why we do that, because we're adding a lot of sugar to it.
Okay.
A lot of sugar.
And you have here, you have these little, these are the crescents that you can buy in the grocery store,
Yeah, just
right?
the
They come in a tube.
Pillsbury crescent rolls.
Okay, get us started with how you wrap
We just take one section here, lay it out, and take your apple, just kind of wrap it up in a nice little present, and put it in a dish.
Okay, I'm going to help you do that, okay?
Sure.
Let's go ahead and we can get this whole thing done, can't we? Okay. Let's see if I can do this without being too klutzy here.
Doesn't have to be pretty.
No, because it's going to cook and it's going to get good looking
It's going to
anyway,
get all
isn't it?
nice and puffed up,
Yeah,
and
okay.
it's going to be scrumptious.
Okay. Hey, this dough feels really nice.
Yeah, I had it in the refrigerator a little long, so it's kind of doughy.
Kind of
But
looks almost as good as one of yours there.
I've had lots of practice.
Yeah.
I do this every Thursday night.
Probably would rather
So
have
yeah.
less practice doing that. Here's another one. Okay.
My aunt actually gave me this recipe. She
God
is
love her.
retired and cooks for funeral dinners, and she called me and said that she knew I didn't do desserts, but I really had to try this dessert. So now every Thursday night I have to sit around and cuss at her because
I want
she
to
did
tell
that.
you, this is so good. I've been told it's so good. Our photographer, Tony Euskes, came here to eat. He said we had to do this story because of these dumplings.
Exactly.
So that's
But it's a
why we're here.
smokehouse, not a dumpling house.
Okay, so now we got them wrapped. What's
Yeah.
next?
Now I melted some butter and I put some sugar and cinnamon, and I have a couple of secret ingredients I put in here too, because I have to make mine a little bit different.
How
you know.
much would it cost to find out what those secret ingredients
Nobody's been
are?
able to pay me enough yet.
No, okay, so.
And we're just going to ladle some of this over the top of the dumplings here.
Oh, man.
And as it cooks, it'll kind of form a little crust.
Is that right?
So we'll be a little generous on the... So just going to layer it on nice and thick.
This is your dessert, isn't it? This is probably your most...
This is the only dessert I make.
Is that right?
The only one. Because like I said, this is a smokehouse, not a dumpling house. I don't excel in desserts. I don't really care much about baking. But since my aunt told me about this, I tried it one weekend, and now I have to make it every weekend because people complain if I don't.
That's right. They call and say, are you going to have those? And they won't come if you don't have them.
Exactly.
Okay. Now, the interesting thing is the Mountain Dew part. That's the part that I thought was so...
Now we have our apple. We have it all nice and wrapped up.
And this is just regular old straight Mountain Dew, huh?
Regular old Mountain Dew right out of the grocery store. And we're just going to pour it right in over top of it like this. And it actually is going to bake into the dumpling.
Okay, now that goes in the oven, right?
That goes in the oven.
Okay, I'm going to move this over here because I want to show what comes out of the oven. This is what they look like after you had them in for what, 30 minutes?
It took about 30 minutes. Usually what I do is I take a little knife or something and poke in it to make sure that the apple's done.
Oh my goodness. Can I use that spoon?
Yeah.
Look at these. Let's try this one right here.
See, it kind of cuts a little crust on it, so
it does. That's just a part of one, but that's probably enough for me.
Here's a fork.
Thank you. Okay, I think what I'll do first is check on this hot dog and see how we're doing. I think it's done, Sharon. Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. And this is how you serve your... Oh, my goodness. You can't even fit that thing in the bun.
No. And then what we do is we serve it with my special coney slaw.
Coney slaw,
yes.
Huh? Can I taste that, too?
Oh, yeah. It's very different. It's very unique.
Okay, that's cabbage.
Yeah.
Cut up real fine. With, I don't know what.
We've got some sugar and some mustard, a couple herbs and stuff in there. The best thing to do is let it set for a couple days so it kind of ferments. It's really good.
So you want it to season a little bit, huh?
Yeah.
And this is what Tony was talking about, this. Crusty, sweet, but not too sweet.
No.
Because the Granny Smith apple.
Yeah. Yeah.
Makes it perfect.
Because if you use a sweet apple, it's going to kind of overpower you with the sugar.
I don't think I'm going to have this dessert just yet. Because I see what else you got here.
Oh, yeah.
Sharon, thank you so much. This has been a terrific experience.
Okay.
I wouldn't have come to Weldon for any other reason.
Not many people do.
No. But it's been a great experience.
Great.
Thank you to both you and your husband for welcoming us in like this.
Not a problem.
Okay. You're also welcome to Weldon, to Mama D's Smokehouse. But keep in mind, it's only on Friday and Saturday night. With another Illinois story in Weldon, I'm Mark McDonald. Thanks for watching.
Illinois Stories is brought to you by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and by the support of viewers like you. Thank you. For a DVD copy of the program you've just seen, send $19.95 to Network Knowledge, P.O. Box 6248, Springfield, Illinois 62708. Be sure to include the program name, subject, and when the program aired. You can also order with your credit card by calling 800-232-3605.